She ended our 4-year relationship with a text message. Because I wouldn't sign a prenup that basically handed over my entire future. I'm Alex, 35M. And until recently, I was engaged to Vanessa, 32F. We met at a mutual friend's New Year's Eve party and clicked instantly. She was bright, ambitious, and made me feel seen in a way no one else had before. After 2 years of dating, she moved into the house I had bought before we met. We were happy, or so I thought. The wedding was 3 months away. We'd sent out the save the dates, booked the venue, caterers, and even hired a swing band Vanessa loved. Most of the expenses, around $32,000, came from my bank account. I didn't mind. I was financially stable with a steady freelance software business and passive income from a few small apps I'd built over the years. Vanessa worked in marketing and contributed to shared expenses, but we'd never had major money conversations. Until I got an email. Not from Vanessa. From a man named Conrad Milton, a partner at some high-profile law firm. Subject line: Prenuptial Agreement Proposal. Milton on behalf of Ms. Sterling. Sterling is Vanessa's last name. My stomach dropped. We had talked about hypotheticals, sure, but nothing about formal contracts. I clicked the PDF. It wasn't just one-sided. It was a hostile takeover of my financial life. Anything I earned during the marriage, even from pre-existing projects, would become her sole property in the event of divorce. Any assets purchased jointly? Hers. No spousal support, no matter the situation. There was even a clause saying I'd need to maintain her standard of living if she chose to stop working. It was less a prenup, more a blueprint for legalized theft. I didn't respond to the email. It said all communications should go through Mr. Milton. So I called my lawyer, Marissa. Sharp, practical, and someone I trusted. She'd helped me close on my house years ago. She read the document and said, "Alex, this is beyond aggressive. It's almost laughable in court. I've seen hardball prenups, but this isn't hardball. It's a hammer." "What's our move?" I asked. "You don't sign. Not like this." We respond politely but firmly. "And you prepare for the possibility that they'll dig in. This isn't just legal, it's personal." The next morning, Marissa emailed Mr. Milton a formal reply. It stated I wouldn't be signing and that the current version was unacceptable. We were open to negotiating a fair agreement. Less than 24 hours later, I got a text from Vanessa. "My lawyer told me you refused to sign. I guess you were never serious about us. The wedding is off." Just like that. No call. No conversation. For years, gone. I stared at my phone for a long time. Hurt, yes. Angry, absolutely. But more than anything, I felt clarity. This wasn't love. This was leverage. She had tried to use emotion as a weapon, and when it didn't work, she bailed. I texted back one word. Noted. Then I called Marissa and said, "She canceled the wedding over a predatory prenup. I paid for everything. I want my money back." Marissa didn't miss a beat. "Then we send a demand. Let's play their game, but better." We sent the demand letter the next morning. It was as professional as it was brutal. Marissa outlined every non-refundable deposit I had paid. The venue, catering, photographer, entertainment. Each amount itemized, contracts attached, all totaling $32,000. The letter concluded with a 20-business-day deadline for reimbursement. 3 days later, Marissa got a call from Milton. He didn't sound smug anymore. More like mildly annoyed. "My client views your demand as opportunistic," he said. "She sees the prenup as a necessary protection. She's shocked at your client's behavior." Marissa, unshaken, simply replied, "We're not interested in posturing. We're looking to resolve this before filing suit." Milton offered $5,000. Goodwill, he called it. We declined. That's when the real campaign started, not through lawyers, but through flying monkeys. First, Vanessa's sister texted me. "I can't believe you're threatening to sue over some paperwork." She's devastated. We're all disgusted. Then came Vanessa herself. "You're blowing this out of proportion. That prenup was just standard. I thought you were better than this." I didn't reply. Marissa told me not to engage emotionally. This wasn't a relationship anymore. It was a negotiation. Another week, another offer. This time, $10,000. Still not even halfway. We rejected it again, sending another letter reinforcing our position, this time including legal citations and a clear warning. Proceed with fair compensation, or we would file in district court. Vanessa showed up at my house the next weekend. She looked nervous but tried to mask it with a soft tone. "Alex, we need to talk. This has gotten out of hand." I was calm. "You ended things over a document designed to strip me bare. We're past talking. My parents said they might help cover some wedding costs if we drop all this. We can get back on track." "There's no track left, Vanessa. There's just a lawsuit." The next day, Milton offered $18,000. Better. Still not enough. Marissa countered with a firm message. "Pay the full $32,000 or we go to court." This wasn't about negotiation anymore. It was about principle. 10 business days passed. No payment. No counteroffer. So we filed. Marissa submitted the lawsuit to district court, citing breach of implied contract and unjust enrichment. We served Vanessa at her parents' house, where she had moved in post-breakup. According to a mutual acquaintance, the moment she received the court papers, the mask finally cracked. There was no immediate phone call, no apology. But 3 days later, Marissa received a much different kind of call from Milton. The tone was no longer confident or dismissive. It was calculated. "Miss Dalton," he said, "my clients are prepared to consider a broader settlement to avoid protracted litigation." Marissa wasn't fooled. A broader settlement means nothing unless it starts with a check for $32,000. He tried to play defense. Said Vanessa's family was now involved. They were concerned about reputational damage. He floated the idea of mediation. Marissa made our position clear. Unless they met the full demand, we were moving forward. Meanwhile, Vanessa's narrative started unraveling. Friends we had in common told me she was claiming I refused to be transparent about my finances, painting herself as the victim who just wanted a basic prenup. One friend even asked, "Why didn't you just sign it and negotiate later?" I replied with a question of my own. Would you hand over your career, income, and future with a handshake and hope for fairness later? Vanessa showed up again. This time she wasn't calm. She was desperate. "Alex, please. This is ruining everything. My mom's freaking out. My dad is furious. They're saying I mishandled this." I stood on my porch, arms crossed. "You tried to rob me on paper, Vanessa. Your lawyer didn't write that prenup alone." She shook her head. "I was just trying to protect myself." "No," I said. "You were trying to corner me, and now you're backed into one." The next morning, Milton called Marissa again. The offer, $25,000. Marissa said no. We wanted the full $32,000 plus court filing costs. Then, a twist. We heard through the grapevine that Vanessa's father had stepped in. Apparently, he'd read the lawsuit documents and was furious. Not at me, but at his daughter and wife for letting things escalate. That same evening, Milton called back. "My clients are prepared to settle for the full $32,000, plus $750 to cover court fees, in exchange for a mutual non-disparagement clause and full dismissal." We agreed. Certified funds arrived within the week. The agreement was signed, the lawsuit withdrawn, and just like that, it was over. Well, almost, because the next day, I got an email from Vanessa's sister. "Hope you're proud of yourself. Vanessa is heartbroken. All over some money." I didn't reply. It was never about the money. It was about standing my ground. I end the days after the settlement. Things got eerily quiet. No more legal threats. No more desperate texts. Just silence. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. I took a deep breath and realized I dodged a lifelong trap. If I had signed that prenup, I would have spent years watching my hard work get siphoned into someone else's sense of entitlement. Instead, I had proof of what really mattered. When tested, Vanessa chose control over connection. The money returned was nice, sure, but it wasn't the real victory. The real win was keeping my autonomy, my dignity, and my future. That silence from her family? That wasn't just embarrassment. That was the collapse of their illusion of control. A week later, I received a certified letter from Milton's office confirming all final paperwork was complete. Inside was also a hand-signed note from Vanessa, just 3 sentences long. I wish things could have gone differently. I hope you find happiness. Please don't contact me again. There was no apology, no acknowledgement, just closure. I didn't reply. Instead, I booked a short trip to the mountains. Alone. I needed the stillness, the space. One evening, standing at the edge of a forest trail overlooking a valley, I watched the sunset melt over pine trees and thought about the last few months. About the illusion I'd lived in, that love would protect us from conflict, that good intentions could override bad actions. They can't. Boundaries matter. I came back from that trip grounded. I went through the house, my house, and packed up the last of Vanessa's things. Anything she didn't take, I donated. I repainted the bedroom, replaced the art in the living room, updated the locks. Not out of spite, out of necessity. It was my space again. People often say you don't really know someone until there's a fight about money. That's true. But I'd add you don't really know yourself until you're willing to walk away even from someone you once loved rather than be manipulated. One day I might meet someone new. Someone who doesn't see marriage as a transaction or safety net. Someone who values partnership, not ownership. But for now I'm good. Because here's what I learned. Silence can be power. Walking away can be strength. And not signing that prenup? That might have been the best decision I ever made.